And we are live. Welcome everybody to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where a father and son, or when the son can't be here because he's working, lots of guests show up to just have some fun today. Those of you who are with us in the chat, be ready. We're going to be tossing things to you. We'd love to hear your thoughts as well, and we'll kind of roll those into what's coming in all of our conversations here today. But yeah, this is a quick celebration because it just dawned on me today. We just started our 6th freaking year of content on this channel, and I can't even believe it. It's like, wow. And
that's amazing.
All of these beautiful people with me here today are people I know because we do this channel and we've been interacting with people, meeting friends all over the country, in some cases all over the world. Right now, all of these people are in my country, but that will probably change. You know, that's coming. People move. But anyways, let's just real quick go around and everybody can introduce themselves and say hello. And we'll start just right next to me over here.
Oh, geez. Hi, I'm Terry. You might know me as the girl who finished The Wheel of Time after 5 years earlier this year.
It's awesome.
I'm a very slow reader, so every time Jim asks me to come on, I'm like, what do you mean? I'm not cool enough, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm here.
You are very cool. You raised our cool factor. Absolutely. And let's just keep going around the square then, or this way, whichever. Daniel, you're next. Go for it.
Cool. Hi, guys. I am Daniel Byshink. I am an audiobook narrator and avid Wheel of Time nerd, which is, you know, how Jim and I got to know each other. Jim, Zach, and I technically all got to know each other. And I actually just got an email literally at the beginning of this stream that I just had another book go live on Audible. So if you want to go check it out, just real quick plug, I guess, because as I said, I wasn't planning on doing this.
Yeah,
but then I got it's actually right up Jim's alley, if you will, because it is a horror thriller series. It's called the Prairie Wolf Trilogy. Book 1 is oh god, I don't remember what the first one is, but the second one just came out. It's called A Beast with Four Heads.
That does sound like my kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm working on the third one now. It's called The Zone, so that'll be out, you know, hopefully near the end of January. But yeah, so
sweet,
lots of fun and doing fun things. Fantastic. I don't have another show to get to after this, but I should probably work on a book after it. So
there you go. But Leia right below me does have another show right after this.
Go
ahead and introduce yourself again.
Hi, I'm Rick Mistress Leia. The show I will have to get to at 9 p.m. Eastern is Threefold Talk. We're live over on the Mouth Gear Talks channel every week, talking IEL stuff, things within the community. Tonight we're just going to be gushing over all the positive things that happened to us personally this year as a show, as a community, and we've got a whole bunch of the Foldies, which are our fans who have also chimed in. So if you want some more after you guys finish with Jim,
right over there.
Mouth Gear Talks. Also over there I have my Wheel of Time D&D 4th Age game called Time to Roll the Dice. So all my stuff is over on Mouth Gear Talks. So go over there to find all my things.
There it is. Awesome. Let's keep it going. Derek, who are you?
Hey everybody, Derek, and I am one half of D&J's Epic Quest Malazan read-through podcast. Primarily, we are just getting into Midnight Tides, just wrapping up the first sub-book, and if things work out, maybe we'll have you on for that episode, Jim.
Awesome.
Love to see how it pans out. A couple shout outs real quick. If my wife is watching in the other room, hi to my wife, Kelly,
hi, wife.
And my buddy Keith. If you're watching, how are you doing, Keith? Hope you're doing good.
Love it. Awesome. Glenn, best for last.
Hey,
go for it, man.
Yeah, I'm Glenn. I'm the curmudgeon serial contrarian from What the Adaptation, now Non-Trustal Half-Life. I just like to hang out, talk about nerdy stuff online. So,
and wears some of the coolest shirts.
Thank you. I just got this tie-dye. I love it. Got it for Christmas.
Wait a second. Christmas hasn't come yet. What kind of calendar are you following in your house?
We don't use calendars.
You know, you go with the flow. Whatever. All right. All right. If you enjoy, viewers, this episode, don't forget to give it a like. It's somewhere over there. And then down below, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And hit that notification bell in the other corner so you don't miss any of the fun, nerdy content we keep pumping out here on the channel.
They're almost at another milestone for subscribers. So definitely, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. They're awesome. Go back, watch all of their stuff. If you already have watched all of their stuff, then what are you even doing?
Still trying to keep on my pattern of one thing a day at least. If it's if only a dad joke, at least, you know, something to entertain. Yeah,
indeed.
It's been a rush. All right, so we're going to do a whole bunch of questions here now today, just flying through things we can chat about and have some fun. And again, jump in with any of your thoughts as well. The first question for everybody, and I'm going to always pick one person, and then whoever else wants to answer will answer. But I'm going to Leia with the first question.
Oh, dear.
If you could force every modern fantasy reader to read one classic novel, a throwback thing, what would it be?
Can I ask a real quick question? What does classic classify? What's your definition of classic?
Well, these days we're going to say anything from the 80s or older.
Copy. Great.
Oh, wow. 80s or older.
Hey, that's how Zach thinks of it.
I mean, I was thinking Tolkien or older.
Please go as old as you want, though.
Oh, geez. I mean, the obvious go-to is the Tolkien books, but I've kind of been on a kick recently where I'm trying to start reading some of the older books that aren't really always classified as fantasy or sci-fi because they're in that realm of classics now.
Sure.
So, and just with the movie that just came out, I do think Frankenstein was a groundbreaking horror book that really kind of brought horror and a little bit of like it's a little bit of fantasy, it's a little bit of sci-fi, but it really is that like the quintessential horror book. It's really well written, and I haven't got too much into it because I'm just reading too many things. Well, and I'm trying to do. There's I'd have to pull it up, but there's a companion podcast that goes through like clusters of chapters together. So I'm trying to listen to that podcast and then read the book since I've already read Frankenstein years ago. I'm doing all the spoiler things ahead of time. Gotcha. So it's been a really interesting reversal of the spoilers than the meat of the stuff, and so
you're getting so much more out of it that way now.
I really am, yeah. So and like I know what happens, so it's not like the storyline's going to be, but it's knowing what to look out for, and then then I'm able to form a little bit more critical thoughts based off of what this one podcast says. So it's just been interesting. So again, not to say the stereotype one with Tolkien, although
I love Frankenstein. That's a great pick. So I'm going to toss in Dracula along the same line.
Yeah,
Dracula is such a foundational piece to Gothic horror. It changed fiction after it, and it's a heck of a fun read. It really is. It's not hard to get through at all.
I'll throw out one. I don't know many people will have even heard of this one, but Lord Dunsany wrote The King of Elfland's Daughter, which was a fantasy that predates Tolkien. So you don't see that often. Right.
Wait, didn't Tolkien invent fantasy? No, he did not. There were other things.
Yeah.
I was in by the chat. That's a good one.
I was going to kind of toss in, I mean, it's not quite as like high fantasy, certainly, but I would go back to like the Brothers Grimm fairy tales. A lot of those actually have a lot to do with fantasy. And my partner and I were just talking about it today of like, you know, a lot of them were written or compiled really for like a Germanic audience because that's where the Brothers Grimm were from. And they are actually really fun to read, especially if you're only familiar with like the Disneyfied versions and whatnot. They are not insignificantly different, and all of them are well darker.
And that was what they did is they took a lot of folklore and wrote it down and made a larger, more comprehensive story to it.
Exactly.
So it is kind of that transition, an interesting transition from the verbal narrative of storytelling to that on the paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, totally.
I would.
Derek, it looks like you, oh, Derek, go ahead.
Sorry, Carrie. I guess I haven't read a ton of older stuff, and the stuff I have read has kind of been talked about. Dune is one that relatively recently I read, and Jim, you and I talked about that.
We did.
And then I would say The Haunting of Hill House, which we talked about not terribly long ago, would be a good one. So we got kind of sci-fi and horror covered, and then I'm currently reading The Fellowship of the Ring, which I haven't read in probably 20, 25 years. So it's kind of like a first time again. I mean, first time as an adult reading it, and we'll talk about that once I finish it. So
there you go. Carrie, it looked like you had a thought. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to throw out like a children's series. I was going to say The Chronicles of Narnia.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, who doesn't want to go through a magical wardrobe and end up in a fantasy world, you know?
Right?
So true.
Yeah, that's a sweet one. Love it. Well, this flows really well into the next couple of questions I wanted to talk about. So first, let's go back to Tolkien for a moment. Is Tolkien's influence on fantasy, I jokingly reminded you all he's not the first to do fantasy, but he had a big influence on where fantasy went. Is that influence ultimately a gift to the genre, or has it been more of a bottleneck, kind of creating a pattern that people have been either now trying to find a way to navigate, or they're feeling like they're trying to be the opposite of Tolkien, you know, and they're always still thinking of Tolkien? What do you think? Daniel?
I don't know. Go ahead.
I would say yes. I think that it is a gift, because when it comes right down to it, I think that one of the things that, and again, this is very much a personal opinion, I love the world building of fantasy stories. And I think that personally, again, I was not around at the time that Tolkien was writing, but I do feel like most of the things that were coming out prior to Tolkien were about the fable. They were about the fairy tale. They were about the characters and the story, which is certainly not a bad thing. But I think that, again, the world building in the Grimm fairy tales isn't very good, because it doesn't really matter that much. You have a witch. You have a, woman with long hair. You have Rumpelstiltskin. But you don't really have, like, okay, but where are they living? What made them who they are every time? And so then Tolkien comes along and he builds this entire new world, and it brings the focus from just the fable that you're trying to tell, or the lesson that you're trying to impart in some ways, to, okay, but other people can now write in this world, because while your story is about a hobbit and their resilience and a ring, you've put together a world that is so rich that other people can now see themselves and their characters in it. And so I would say that Tolkien gave us a gift of sort of shifting the narrative from singular stories to make a world, live in that world, and then make your characters live in that world with you, which makes the whole thing just feel so much more relatable. Because if I'm not a woman locked in a tower, it doesn't matter. I can still see myself in your world and still get a good lesson from whatever it is that you're telling me, because your world feels real.
Heck, a lot of the content that did try to go out into fantasy, and I'll say horror too, was just in our world. It was regular stuff. It was just made up people, but it was in our world. Tolkien said, hold my beer. I'm going to make a whole new world. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to write a language first and then build a world up.
It was an adult book that was built around the world. A lot of times when there were these other worlds, like Alice in Wonderland, it was a children's book. So, in that otherworldly was considered juvenile and not for the adults to necessarily contemplate, or it just wasn't wide received or well received. So
right.
And
Yeah.
I think also going off of that, and I agree with Daniel that it's good, and that the story of, you know, being ripped from your home and having to go on this fantastical journey. There's so many iterations. So yes, a lot of other authors have derived books that have a similar feel to that Hobbit's journey, the multiple journeys between the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy. But that's also, it's just because it's something that we want to do. Like, we want to be ripped from our life and go on this like cool adventure. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having derivative imitations of that, regardless of whether they're done well or not. Like, it's all entertaining.
Terry Brooks says thank you. He appreciates that opinion.
As does Robert Jordan and so
Indeed.
many other, like Princess Bride. So like all of these other stories have that a very similar, like, I'm leaving home and going on an adventure. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was going to say the only bottleneck I can perceive in the fantasy genre is the one that's the unfortunate side effect of so many people deciding, hey, I'm going to write what I know and writing pseudo-Europe, you know, because unfortunately most fantasy writers for a long time were European descent and they wrote pseudo-Europe. D&D didn't help because every D&D setting was pseudo-Europe, you know, for the most part. There was a couple of changes, but from that.
Oh, look, there's a castle. Oh,
Fantasy's
there's
been getting away from that, you know, the last decade or two,
Oh,
2 decades
definitely.
or so, but that was the only bottleneck that I could think of in fantasy, really.
Yeah,
Unless
that's a
I'm
great-
missing
great
something.
point.
I think that's also more of our culture is evolving more. So it's not all white male leads.
Yeah, it's no, we've got all kinds of diversity in authors as well.
Nothing wrong with the white dudes out there, but
Thank you.
No,
nothing wrong with that. But it's nice to see somebody that looks like me.
There you go. Derek, I want to go to you for the next question and kick off another theme because I want to talk about Dune a little. And that's one I know you did not too long ago. The question is, would Dune still be considered great, a classic? Well, not classic, forget that word. Would it be great if it was published today?
Man, I don't know. I maybe. I think about.
Maybe is the ultimate non-answer, by the way.
I
Take a
know.
stand, Derek. Come on.
I really don't know. I mean, I liked reading it and I enjoyed the movies. I haven't read any of the further books, and I think about now, like we've got what's Rocchio's book series, The Empire of Silence. I can't think of it right now.
Sun Eater.
The
Sun
Sun Eater
Eater.
series. Yeah.
And I wonder if that's like today's Dune in a
Interesting.
sense. I read the first book, really struggled with it, and I'll go back and reread it again and read the series. But I guess I don't know. I don't have a very good answer for you. I'm not sure.
I have
Gary,
doubts
have
as
you
whether or
read
not
Dune?
Dune
I
would get published.
didn't know.
No, I have not, but I know a little bit about it, but nope, never
I
read
have
it.
doubts. I don't even think it would get published, and if it did, he would run smack dab into cancel culture because of what he does with Baron Harkonnen.
There are some
Having-
things that don't fly so
Yes,
much.
Baron Harkonnen. Yeah, it's just not in this modern society.
Some books do not age well. It's true.
Yeah,
They're products of their times.
I had started Dune at one point, and when it got up to the point of their fortress or whatever it's called being attacked by the Baron and the homophobic pedophilia that happened there, and it kept going on and on and on. I was just like,
Yeah.
like I thought it would end, and it's not. It keeps going. So I just had to stop. I've been recommended to because apparently that is just really that one
Yeah.
That was the
long
first one.
section, but still.
Yeah. So we can be
It really
glad
is
Dune
heading
came out
forward.
when it did. As the chat notes, it influenced so much after it. There's things we would not have if we didn't have Dune. But if they tried to do Dune now, it probably wouldn't cut it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So that ties in real nice to one more question I want to do in this category with touching on classics. What's something from classic sci-fi or fantasy that you think has aged the worst? Like, it was great back then, and now, oh no.
Oh
Well,
man.
Personally, I think that really the classics sort of, and again, this is a little humorous because, of course, this to our modern sensibilities hasn't actually aged terribly well in the real world either. But the treatment of women, I mean, again, and I think that a lot of people sort of didn't even realize that it was a problem or that it shouldn't
Mm.
be the depiction of women because it was what was happening with women in society.
Okay.
But I think that, again, sort of the, she boobily down the stairs is so ubiquitous with a lot of classics
Mhm.
that really these characters are not even seen as characters. They are plot points, props, set dressing, whatever you want to call it. And the times when yeah, exactly. And the times when a woman does actually do something in the story that is of her own sort of volition, it's viewed as this like, oh, you can't do that. And so again, as stated, it's almost hard to say that it's aged badly because again, that was what was happening to a certain degree. But at the same time, again, we have a long way to go, but thankfully we have evolved from there
Mhm.
to where we are now, which is again not where we should be, but better.
I saw a lot of head nodding as you were talking. Anyone else want to add something specific to Daniel? Or
Strange in a
kinda
Strange
nailed it?
Land.
Oh, that book, Stranger to Strange Land.
Every point he made there, it applies Strange in a Strange Land.
Yeah.
As well as the the homophobia that's in that book too.
Yeah, I was gonna basically pick up what I was saying from Dune is the bad guys being queer. So queer and like some form of pedophiles, and it's just like I understand that was the view for a long time, like the public view. So that was a very easy person to vilify, but or people of color being the bad guys. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, let's move to the modern genre then. Modern times, the books we have now, there's so much available now. It's almost overwhelming. So the question I have is this our golden age of science fiction, fantasy, and horror that there's so much? Or is it just an era of overproduction that anyone who wants to write something can throw it out there now? Which do you feel like it is?
I feel like we're still coming into the age because I do feel like because we are still specifically categorizing them as fantasy and sci-fi and horror and not just fiction, and there is still a little bit of a bias where if I've talked with random people and they're like, oh, I'm just not into that, I'm just not into fantasy, and it's like, I don't know if that's true. Like maybe you're not into certain types of books, but I'm sure there's fantastic. Like, did you like Twilight? Did you like Fourth Wing? Did you like those are fantasy books? So like,
there's a lot of variety, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, and I think that we're starting to get to the point where diehards like us, like having all of these amazing books out there are like amazing, but it's starting to really become more mainstream. So I don't think we're quite at the golden age where
I think we are in the golden age,
okay.
And it's been going on for a while, and we've got a little bit left to go. And it's not so much with the print media, but specifically with film. If you look at the top 100 grossing films, probably 75% of them are going to be sci-fi. I know the top 10, they're almost all sci-fi. Sci-fi dominates. You look at video games, most of the video games I see on Steam, not given that it's been curated over the last year of me not liking stuff, but I see more science fiction video games than anything else. There's always some element of sci-fi going on in most of these games. So it's games, which is the biggest entertainment market out there by far. It's movies, which is huge. And there are a hell of a lot of really good science fiction books coming out nowadays.
Sure.
And, and that's not even counting the fantasy side, which I lump it all together, but, most people don't. So, and I've been mostly looking at the sci-fi side myself the last couple of years, but I think we are smack dab in the middle of it, and we have been since Iron Man.
Okay.
So
Daniel?
I actually want to jump off of what Glenn said there, because I actually think that this is an interesting sort of dichotomy between the two. Because I think that we are actually starting the golden age of print fantasy sci-fi horror. However, I think that what Glenn said and what Leia said are both pointing at the same thing, which is I don't think that we'll really truly be in sort of the golden age until someone comes up with / perfects, depending on where you think they're at currently, a classification system that actually works individually for each human being. Because again, there's so much content out there, and a lot of people run into books that they don't like in a genre, and then they go, oh, that must be true about the entire genre. I just don't like fantasy. That's my problem.
Mm.
Even though there are thousands of books that they would actually thoroughly enjoy, they just ran into a certain number of them that weren't their cup of tea. And so when we can actually get the right books in the right people's hands and keep the books that they would consider bad out of their hands so that it doesn't poison it, that's when I think that people will really be able to just go and never stop. And so I think that really is what is holding us back from the golden age, because it's not content. There is so much content. It's just the getting the right things to the right people.
Like, Carrie, you were talking earlier today about trying to pick your next read, and you were going in a direction that if I stumbled into that as my first fantasy, I'd hate fantasy. This is what fantasy is, because you're looking for that romance word.
Well, I said, should I go for sexy dragons or should I go for historical fiction? And I know there's so many variations, related even with, all that kind of stuff.
You can go for
But
sexy fiction.
I was making a joke about Fourth Wing because I haven't read it yet, but I heard there's sexy dragons in it. But actually, I started with a historical fiction book because I figured that would be a safe choice between now and Christmas, because I bought myself 3 books and I actually wrapped them so I can open them on Christmas Day.
Yay.
So I have a small TBR that I really gotta, get going through. So I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about again?
We're all thinking about sexy dragons right now. That's all we can really get out of our heads, and that and
Well,
adult fiction
I mean,
that Glenn tried to move us to. I'm like, ooh.
to piggyback off
Not
of
so
some
much
of the
that,
other
but-
comments, like the golden age, I feel like we are in that golden age because, like, as Glenn mentioned, with the media, the TV, the movies, it's cool to be a nerd now. And I feel like that has some significance.
Totally.
Also,
I said
the advent of...
2008 with.
Go ahead, Glenn.
I said 2008 with Iron Man, but it probably goes back to 1977 with Star Wars. With sci-fi
Star Wars
kind
started
of
to make
taking over.
nerds cool, actually.
Yeah.
But just with Star Wars, like anybody who's watched Stranger Things just gets reminded about how much us nerds got picked on for liking the things. And I do feel like that's different these days. Like I do feel like you can carry those nerd books around. Air quote nerd. They're not nerd books anymore. They're just books. So the sci-fi, the fantasy, you can wear your comic T-shirt and not be part of the outcast, and you're just wearing it in defiance. Like all the nerd shirts are cool. Like all of us have nerd shirts on right now.
Chat is giving us more sexy dragons to think on. That purple dragon was sexy. That's right. Woo woo. Yeah.
Oh, you a girl dragon.
Oh,
Well done.
speaking of purple, shameless plug really quick. If you want to do a close up, I'm wearing Luz Jr. He's in chat. I'm wearing his shirt right now. He designed some cool shirts for WatCon,
Nice.
and
Nice.
my favorite.
All
Or-
right.
We
I'm
got
wearing
some serious
purple right
WatCon
now.
going on.
Oh, yeah. There's another one. So, Derek,
I
imagine
normally
if
don't wear
somebody
purple.
for the first time trying to explore fantasy to see if they like it, picked up Gardens of the Moon, and then ran away screaming, going, I can't handle fantasy.
Mhm.
Malazan is not where I'd ever recommend someone beginning.
No.
Probably not.
No.
But I mean, again, like you guys said, it's kind of up to the individual reader. Like when Justin and I started doing this, like we've read The Wheel of Time, and we've read like Redwall. So we didn't have a ton of experience.
That's a
And now
really
is-
wide difference. Yeah.
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 But I mean, we both kind of started reading again recently when we started our show. And as far as like a golden age, I believe we're in it. I have a hard time seeing it disappearing. Daniel, like you said, like there's content everywhere, and it's just a matter of finding what you want. And you have these like spiffbo competitions, and there's a sci-fi one as well. Like, sure, everybody and their brother can write a book, but it still has to be good at the end of the day. And if you're good enough, whether it's writing a book or making a movie, whatever it is you're doing, if it's good enough, people are going to find it. Might take a little while, but you got to put it out there.
Totally. I don't know what's happening in chat these days.
My
Really getting
my
interesting over
friends are
there.
just making fun of me, I guess, trying to make me blush. I don't know.
Oh, I'm glad
I'm
you guys
trying
are
to
here.
figure out
having
who
fun.
I would. Yeah, I can't figure out who I would start somebody brand new on science fiction or fantasy, unless I knew a little bit more about their tastes. Like, what kind of? I mean, do they like Star Wars or not? And if they do like Star Wars, what's the aspect of Star Wars they like? And I would use that as a guide. Okay, they like the Force, they like Jedi. Well, then they probably would like fantasy, because that's magic. If they like the droids and the stormtroopers and the bounty hunters, they're probably going to like the science fiction side of things more.
Yeah.
And so I would steer them more towards that. But
Well, and this is I love one of the comedians that I follow, Tom Segura, actually has a great bit about this in one of his things, that he travels the world regularly going on these tours, and people will come up to him and ask him that he's never met before, like where they should go, like what his favorite place is, and he's like, I know nothing about you. Why would you why would I have an answer for you? And why do you think it would be good? Like, neither of those things is good. And so again, Glenn has such a point, and that was kind of what I was talking about earlier as well, is have a system that finds out what you like.
Yeah.
And has the archive of everything that's ever been made that can accurately classify it, and then give you those stories that have the droids, give you those stories that have the laser swords, give you the stories that have those aspects that you want out of a story.
Here's the sexy dragon books, but then there's also
right.
there's a wide range of what's with the sexy dragon.
Bingo.
Right.
Exactly.
But I want to circle back to Glenn's point of just the that we have movies and shows that can be a good insight into what kind of books somebody might try, because there's so much good science fiction and fantasy content out there now, and of course horror content. I mean, that stuff's out there, easily accessible. So that this is called a segue. So thinking about that, let's talk about adaptations of literature to the screen, whether the small or the large. And I'm gonna go to I'm gonna go to Glenn first on this question. Okay, Glenn?
Okay.
I want you to give me a science fiction, fantasy, or horror adaptation that you truly believe improved on the source material.
Lord of the Rings. And I've been saying that for a while. Specifically, the Two Towers is improved upon. To get more specific, everything involving Helm's Deep. I much preferred the elves showing up to help the humans at Helm's Deep than the Dunedain. The Dunedain were, what? You barely know who they are in the books, even though they're talked about. So they would have had to introduce way too much. And also, in the first movie, we didn't have to deal with Tom Bombadil. I like Tom Bombadil in the book, but I did not want to see him on screen.
Okay. That's a point of contention with a lot of fans of the books. Where was Tom?
Yeah.
But you've got the other perspective. I will agree with you in one really big way. That made Lord of the Rings accessible to a lot of people that just couldn't get past the prose, the poems, the songs. It was too much for them in the way they like to read these days. And that was all gone. Or just in the background. Ooh, there's some elves singing, and we didn't have to have pages of that. We could just get to the plot.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate saying it too. I hate saying that because for the longest time, Lord of the Rings was my favorite books.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, me too.
That's
all
one
right,
of my favorite
make things acceptable though. And I know people have tried reading Lord of the Rings and just like, I just can't get past the prose, but I love the movies. So
it opened up for people. Derek, you've got one. Go for it.
As I'm about halfway through the Fellowship now, the prose is not so much a problem for me, or the songs. I actually enjoy both those things, but it does force me to slow down and read a lot slower than I probably would otherwise. And not that I'm a fast reader by any means anyways, but it is taking me a little longer just for that. So I enjoy that, just going back to another time.
Chat is bringing ideas in here. DK Moon's got V for Vendetta, and that is a great adaptation. That really was brought alive on the screen really well.
Verily.
Yes.
I got the sci-fi one too, if nobody else has anything right now.
Jaws,
Jurassic
Park. But okay, Leia, go ahead.
May or may not be contentious, but I love the books. I read all of them, but Murderbots, the first season, because and the books are so short, and I think it did add a lot more layers and depths because you did get the books are just from Murderbot's POV, so you get limited interpretation of what all the other characters are going through. So I think it gave a lot more interesting details from the other characters' perspectives, and for better or for worse, because the books are so short and it's from Murderbot's perspective, there's not a lot of descriptions of what the planet looks like and what the surroundings look like. So I think having you get just good enough an idea of what's going on that you can put it in your head, but that's not what Murderbots as the narrator's point is. Like, he's not there to describe things. So being able to see it and see the world, see the animals, see the habitats and the people, I loved seeing it on screen. Also, Sanctuary Moon, just
best part of the TV series, seeing Sanctuary Moon. Yes.
So it was a great adaptation, and I think it added a lot more additional flavors, and it kept very true to the backbone of the books as well.
Yes,
isn't that wrong?
Didn't make
any
major shifts on what the books were really about. Carrie, I think you have an idea, and then we'll go to Daniel.
Yeah. Okay, so my idea is a little bit left field, but maybe not. I'm going to say Outlander, because the show was really well done. The actors are hot, and you have like like the visual aspect, using more senses in growth into the material, and you have the historical fiction aspect and the fantasy aspect. Yeah, I find that show amazing.
I think that's a fair one to put in there.
Love it.
Daniel, what do you got?
So I have one joke one that I think is also true, and one accurate one that we can talk about. But my first joke one is Muppet Treasure Island. The best treasure island that has been made, and the Muppets absolutely improved it. And then my other one is actually the MCU in general, because the comics are so ridiculous, even by the time that they got to 2008 with Iron Man. But very specifically Captain America Civil War. That is actually the one that I think they did the most justice to. Because in the comic books, I don't know if everybody's super familiar, but Iron Man is a horrible, terrible, authoritarian douchebag. 100%. And this is coming from a person who is a huge Tony Stark stan. I love Iron Man. I have always loved Iron Man. He has been one of my favorite superheroes since the beginning of me reading comics. But again, the story in the comics is a Captain America story. And so they want to make him right.
And Iron Man sucked.
And Iron Man
totally
sucks.
Yeah.
In the movies, I think or in the movie, I should say.
A little more nuanced.
I think that they did a way better job of actually showing both sides of the argument and not making Tony this just, I will do literally whatever it takes to get my way. He actually has very good points. He has very understandable and relatable trauma. And the reasons that he is doing what he's doing seem very reasonable. And then you look on the other side, and Cap also feels very much that way. And so when you get there, it really is a moment where you can be Team Cap or Team Iron Man in this Civil War, instead of just literally being like, no, I would be a terrible person if I was Team Iron Man. Like, get out. And so I really, really appreciated that about that particular movie. And then, of course, again, just giving sort of the comics a cohesive through line with the movies. It's starting to fall apart now, obviously, because it's so large scale. But we'll see what they do with Doomsday. But as I said, like, I think the MCU is really well done, and Captain America Civil War.
Yeah, Doomsday that they just announced we have a whole nother year to still wait for.
Exactly.
But since you touched MCU, I will throw in the Deadpool movies. They elevated Deadpool to such another level. It was such a beautiful bring this character to life moment, because I'm sorry, Ryan Reynolds gets Deadpool. He totally understood what that whole thing is about, and the breaking of the fourth wall done again and again so brilliantly that I love the Deadpool movies. Even the third one that some people bash because it's so full of jokes. It's so constant. I'm like, that's what I'm here for.
Great. 3.5 movies.
3.5.
There's that half movie. Yeah. The PG rated version of the second movie. They added and changed some content for it. It's not the same. They did a lot of changes to it. So it's almost like a half movie.
That version. I don't think I want to.
Doesn't count. No, totally not.
Anyone else? I mean, chat has mentioned The Expanse. I don't know that I think it's better. I think it's really a faithful adaptation.
Yeah.
I don't know that it elevated it, especially since I didn't finish the frickin' thing.
When I read H.G. Wells' book, War of the Worlds, like several times throughout school, it did nothing to me. I saw the movie Steven Spielberg made with Tom Cruise one time, and I had nightmares for months of aliens attacking my hometown.
I thought
that elevated that elevated it for me.
Okay, very nice.
I would say, and I guess I don't know which came out first, Alien, the novelization for that, or the movie. I think they might have been pretty close, but the movie
was first.
I think the movie was first. Yeah.
Yep. Novelization followed right after it. Yeah.
Okay. Then I guess it doesn't apply, but the movie, masterpiece.
It is a masterpiece. Anyone disagree with that? Because I'll vote you off this island right now.
So I'm not going to disagree with that at all. But interestingly, I heard recently that Ridley Scott's original ending of that was actually that the alien kills Ridley or kills Ripley, and then sits in her chair and uses her voice to make a captain's log. And I would have loved that ending so much.
Wow.
Actually, as often happened back in the 70s and 80s, the Alien novelization came out months before the movie was released.
Oh, look at that.
So, but the movie was made before the novel came out. It just wasn't released yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like
Gotcha.
I knew people who had read Empire Strikes Back before the movie came out, and they knew the big reveal, and they wouldn't tell us what it was. And I'm like,
I can't, that would just be a horrific spoilers for me.
Chat's coming in strong. That's another one that I do think is better. The movie is pretty darn good.
Yeah.
All right, let's
thirsty.
do another category here because time is a flying. So we're gonna turn up the heat a little bit, talk some characters, some tropes here. What's a popular trope in any of these genres that we enjoy that needs to be taken out behind the building and shot? Is there one that we need to be done with, in your opinion?
Saving the pretty princess.
Die, princess!
Give
No,
that princess a
save
freaking
herself!
sword and let her save herself because that's all she really wants. So,
Have you seen the movie Damsel?
yeah,
That should make you happy. There, it's like, get rid of that. I don't save the princess. I will save everybody else.
I don't want to ever see a love triangle again. I'm getting tired of them. If you're gonna have anything like that, make it at least be creative and complicated, and have it be a quadrangle or more.
Or
Just
have
a
them be open
triangle
to
is no fun anymore.
have them be open to the concepts of polyamory as well. Like,
There's
you
that
don't
too.
have to
That's
be
always a good
angry and
solution.
jealous about all this sort of stuff. Have an adult conversation and be like, you know what? I like both of you. So this is cool. And if one of you doesn't like it, you can flip the freak right off. So
See, but what do you do when your love triangle only goes the one direction on each line? That's the problem. Because then you're like, well, I like you,
That's
but
what they
don't
gave
like
us on
you.
Murderbot.
But all of us
Yeah.
do. So,
exactly like in Murderbot.
I am a little bit done, and I'm okay. Like, I really would like to see people be a little bit more creative with the mentor teacher character dying. We really don't need to kill off the mentor / teacher character every time. That doesn't need to be their catalyst. They can retire. They can leave. They can fly
Graduate.
off somewhere. It really doesn't need to be murder or,
I saw that really
horrible
Yes.
accident every time.
I saw that really well played out recently. Someone talking about Star Wars, the original, and and Obi-Wan, and yes, you can kill me, Darth, and I'll become more powerful. What? A ghost who talks to people once in a while? How is that more powerful? I don't get that. I was like, I'd never thought about that. But
To
you're
be
right.
fair, Jim, to be fair, we don't know what he's doing off in Force Ghost Land. Maybe he is actually more
He's the
powerful and
master
living on a
there.
different reality.
Yeah.
He just shows up to Luke and goes, yeah, I'll still give you some pointers. It's not a big deal.
Now, somebody threw in a comment talking about princesses, mentioned Princess Bride. And I love the movie The Princess Bride. That's another one. If you don't like it, I vote you off the island. But it just does give a sad moment to say the loss of Rob Reiner sucks. What a director, what a person. So there's our serious moment. We don't do serious moments much, but that's current events, and that was not cool. So for all of you sad about that, we are with you. Let's move on to another one.
Well, before you move on, I'm gonna have to go.
Oh, yes, you do.
This last 10 minutes.
Thank you for being with us. It's been
Wilder
awesome to have
says
you here.
congratulations. He's so proud of you and Zach.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, good evening, everybody. Congratulations, Jim.
Have fun.
Thanks, Leia.
Have fun
Bye.
storming the castle.
There it is. There it
You
is.
think it's gonna wake?
That's such a good movie. Such a good movie.
I need to see it again. It's been a while.
Oh. Okay. Last category for our last few minutes. It's time to, get a little spicy here. Throw some things out that could be contentious. So maybe it's good Leia's gone already because she could have blown up the room. What's an opinion from science fiction, fantasy, or horror that you honestly hold that if you are honest, like at a con, you might get booed out of the room? Do you have such a belief? A feeling?
Gaius Baltar was the hero of the remake of Battlestar Galactica.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'd kick you out of the. I'd kick you out of
Interesting.
I would say, though I am learning to enjoy it, I still do not prefer the first person point of view in writing.
Mm,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, I'll toss out that though I worked very hard for 3 years to convince myself I was enjoying it, I did not like the Wheel of Time TV adaptation. Nope. Didn't. Just did not.
Yeah, that's not going to get you kicked
You're
out of
not
most
wrong.
cons.
Well,
I don't agree with you,
anyway.
but I do think that it won't get you kicked out of most cons.
I'm gonna throw out something. Obviously I go to WatCon every year, which is the Wheel of Time convention. I say that New Spring is my favorite Wheel of Time book, and I know a lot of people don't like that, but it is what it is.
I imagine that is an unpopular take, or uncommon, anyways.
I wouldn't
I'm
throw
a
you out of the
rebel.
room for that though, but yeah. I my biggest problem with New Spring is bitterness from the past.
Mm,
Because when it came out, that was not the book we wanted.
yes.
You wanted the story
And I
to
was
progress.
so frustrated, and I think that color that tainted my perspective on the book, and I've never been able to let go.
Because we didn't need it because we already had the novella. We didn't need a full-length novel version of it. Maybe after you finish the books, that would have been fine. But yeah, I don't think we needed past the novella for New Spring.
I think that this kind of goes back a little bit to another thing that we were talking about before, but I'm very sick of the Star Trek problem. And what I mean by that is every episode of Star Trek had something broken on the Enterprise that wasn't broken last episode and won't be broken next episode. But it was only because the story that they wanted to tell this week
Needed this
needed that to be broken because they had tools to fix everything. And the only time that you actually had conflict was when that thing to fix that thing was broken. And so I would like more reasons to actually have your story and conflict be there besides, oh no, the thing that could solve our problems is broken.
Fair enough. I'm thankful chat did point out one good thing about New Spring, so I just had to put that up there. And also this one, wow, this could get you kicked out of some cons. Are you serious?
Oof.
Oh,
See, I'm only about 50% serious on my Baltar one, but I have one. I do think Jaime Lannister is a more honorable man than Ned Stark.
ooh, that's
Jaime Lannister is the most honorable man we see in Westeros in any of the books or short stories. Well, I won't say short stories, just the main sequence of books.
Banging his sister. You think?
That aside, that's gross and disgusting. Everything else he does makes him the most. He is the most honorable person
out
there.
a window.
Nobody else sacrificed their honor in everybody's eyes to save an entire city. He has taken upon himself Kingslayer to save a city.
That was a moment.
That's nobility. That's honorable. Nobody else had the nobility in the series to do that. Just Jaime Lannister.
I would kind of say I not to make this about Game of Thrones, but I will say, like, I think that that's not necessarily a fair assessment of Ned Stark was absolutely willing to go ahead and make himself the bad guy in some ways to get the Lannisters off the throne and got killed for it. So if he had actually been successful, I feel like this would be a different conversation. But since he failed, he is viewed as unsuccessful. Not necessarily honorable, but unsuccessful.
Ned
and people
Stark.
are like, yeah, Ned Stark.
He was too honorable for the world he lived in.
Kinda. Yeah.
That's how he lost his head. Yeah.
Yep.
But Jaime Lannister is a very complex and conflicted character, and I appreciate
that.
There's
complicated shit that happened at Harrenhal, though. And Ned wasn't a perfect saint coming out of Harrenhal from
Oh,
everything
God.
I picked up in the books. So
Yeah.
he did some skeevy stuff at Harrenhal too.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh yeah, there was nobody perfectly clean in
Well,
Game of
and
Thrones.
I will also say again, you argue about sort of like the sacrificing his honor for the city. Ned Stark did sacrifice his own honor in everybody's eyes to go ahead and take in his sister's child as his own so that they wouldn't be in danger, which is
Very
pretty
true.
honorable
Very
to me
true.
as a behind closed doors kind of thing to do. Just saying. It's not an entire city, but it is a person.
I think keeping the secret from that child of who his mother is was a little dishonorable.
Fair.
Yeah.
I also think murder is a little dishonorable. So again,
Yeah.
Jamie Lannister, you know.
A little bit.
But that was saving his life, protecting his life, and
Yep.
his sister's life.
Yep.
Because they both would have been executed immediately for treason.
Yep.
So, you know, that's self-protection. I'm not saying he was right. I'm not saying I'd do it. I'm just saying that was self-defense when you really think about it.
We're going to add to
He had
Glenn's
no
title,
choice.
Jedi Sentinel, A Song of Ice and Fire apology.
Jamie Lannister had no choice at that moment but to do what he did. I'm not saying he was right. It was
everyone
just
has a
that
choice.
situation left him one choice, and he made it. And that's
Fair
the
enough.
worst thing he's done in the books, by far.
Well, we were looking
worst
for
thing.
unpopular opinions and get people kicked out of
Indeed.
cons, and we've got where Glenn to get kicked out now.
Yep.
That's great. All right,
I can argue that for hours.
last question for us, and maybe this is a perfect flow from where we just were. Which fandom is the most exhausting, and why?
The Rick and Morty fandom. The
And
number
why?
of times that I have been told that I don't like Rick and Morty just because I'm not smart enough to understand it is so obnoxious.
Oh.
Never watched it.
Yeah, that's entirely acceptable. I have watched 2 episodes of it. 3 episodes? 3. I gave it the college try and was like, this is not my humor. I don't really like Dan Harmon. I'm out. And have been lambasted by friends who enjoy it since then.
Okay. What
I'm
else?
sick and tired of my fellow Star Wars fans. Star Wars fans, I mean, people jokingly say Star Wars fans are the worst, but when you really get down to it, Star Wars fans are the worst. You know, when a Star Wars fans get negative on something, they get horribly rotten and negative. And they do that on a lot of stuff. Anything they don't like in the slightest, they go super negative, and next thing you know, everything's woke trash. You know.
On the flip side, they can, there's not one Star Wars fandom. You know, there's different perspectives and things. So, like when Andor came out, if people genuinely didn't like Andor for legitimate reasons, oh man, people came at you. I was like, whoa, how can you not like? You're no Star Wars fan. Yeah, no, there was some of that.
Yeah,
I think you were crazy for not liking it, but that's your opinion. I still talk to you.
That's just like your opinion, man.
Yeah. Wow. I would definitely say the Wheel of Time fandom is not the most exhausting because they are the nicest bunch of people. Oh, Carrie's got a thought though.
I'm going to say exhausting from the standpoint of there's so much content, I can't keep up. It's exhausting to me.
That is a different definition of exhausting, but it is accurate.
I mean, like, seriously, there's all these first-time readers out there. I want to watch their stuff. I don't have time, and it's frustrating because like, I want to keep up with everybody, and it's just not enough time in the day.
You have a great point there because I realize I'm an inferior Wheel of Time fan doing this channel because we started it about Wheel of Time. And after 13 episodes, we already had to talk about other things. But there are people out there who do nothing but talk about the Wheel of Time. And I just can't. I can't do that.
Yeah,
I'm not a strong Wheel of Time fan.
I love the Wheel of Time, but I could not do a podcast or a show about one subject. You know, everything I've done has always had more than one subject.
But there is a lot to talk about in the Wheel of Time. That is true.
Yeah.
There's so much to talk about and not enough time in a day. And, like I think I mentioned to you before, someday I want to go to JordanCon at least once to say I've been there because there's so much
Yeah.
more to do there than just, Wheel of Time
It's
convention.
one of the things I do like about JordanCon.
I have a lot of respect for Daniel and the other guys at BTP because I don't know how they did it for so long, always coming up with new topics and not talking about the exact same thing every week or like 5 or 6 times in a year. I'm sure you guys found yourself heading in that direction at times.
Oh yeah,
doing it. But yeah, I just much respect for that.
Now, Derek,
on that show.
you've discovered, of course, the Malazan fandom. They're not exhausting.
Uh-huh.
They're cool people. That's what I've found so far. What do you think?
I would agree with that. The people that we've interacted with have been great. People are pretty protective of people who are first-time readers and being careful about spoiling things, which is super appreciative for us. That's not to say I haven't had a thing or two spoiled in the book that we were reading. I mean, that was more my own fault than somebody else's.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. But I guess like comparing Malazan to Wheel of Time, I would feel like the Wheel of Time fan base is maybe a little more exhausting just because it seems like there's, from what I've seen, that there's probably more infighting within the group.
Since the TV show came out, that is true.
Yeah. Something I've appreciated about the Malazan fandom, because some of our highest episodes when I'm just talking about a book have been when I've talked about a Malazan book. People show up for that content. And I think it is still, they're all looking at each other going, I found other people who actually like this stuff. Because so many people try Malazan and DNF it. They just can't get into it. And so they're just thrilled to know other people who did and like it and are happy to talk about these things.
And it's wild to me that a couple of, late 30-something dudes in Midwest America have, I won't say a big audience, but we have a worldwide reach. We've got people all over the place listening. And I mean, we just never thought that would be a thing at all. So it's really cool and it makes it a lot of fun. And it led to doors like this. I met you and everybody else, and it's amazing. I don't have another word for it.
Yeah, Carrie, jump in. I see something's coming.
Yeah. Okay, I have a dumb question, and I'm embarrassed because you guys know I don't read as much as you guys all do. But what is Malazan?
We love that. No, that's great.
Well, you finished Wheel of Time, right? Now you can graduate. I don't want to say graduate, but you can progress to Malazan.
What is it about?
Oh my goodness, that would take a while.
We've got four books worth of. It is. God, I don't even know what I would tell you, honestly.
Huge,
you got another hour.
Yeah. If you the one thing I see over and over again is if you don't want your handheld, if you want to be thrown in to a book, this is it. And some people have a hard time with that. I can see why. Now, my buddy and I, when we do this, we read one chapter at a time. We summarize that chapter. We talk about it. So we're very slow and methodical with this. So it's really like we're reading this at we're getting like a read and a reread of the series at the same time. Yeah. So it's not, to me, to Justin, I don't think it feels super overwhelming because we're not doing this very fast. If you're reading like 3 or 4 chapters or more at a time, I could see where it would be difficult to grasp things. But if you take it slow, I don't feel like it's too much. There's a lot of things we don't understand and we don't know.
Yeah.
But things get revealed.
See,
let me take a crack at giving you the tiniest of explanation of Malazan.
Elevated.
When most people talk about Malazan, they're talking about 10 books. Malazan Book of the Fallen. It's a 10-book epic fantasy series, military fantasy, very much.
Military fantasy.
Mm-hmm. And so you've got this empire, the Malazan Empire, that as the books start is basically in a time of turmoil. It was the first group to really bring some order to the world. but it didn't last very long because its rulers disappeared. And there's all sorts of shenanigans, a lot of political backstabbing and stuff that's going on in the background. But so it's a human empire that's got these power maneuverings going on, but there's a lot of magic going on. And then there's these immortal characters, and then there's gods, and there's so many plot lines, so many levels of things that are happening.
But is there romance?
A little bit. It's not super prevalent, especially probably not in the first two books. There's a little bit in the third, but it's and not even just to the romance, but it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I've only read the first three books, and I don't think I've ever seen this much death in a fantasy series. Now, in Dune, there's far more orders of magnitude death in Dune. But in a fantasy on one world, yeah, the third book broke me. I haven't been able to go back for the fourth book yet.
But as you move through the series, there is darkness, there's death, but there's also a growing amount of gallows humor that comes out because you get to know these soldiers. There's all these important people, but there's also elements of just the regular schmucks, the guys who are stuck into the front lines and don't control their destiny, and how they deal with it and how they interact with each other. And some of this is freaking hilarious. And that's Steven Erikson is the one who's writing this. And you see what he does with some of it. And it's just so good. And Derek, you haven't even got to the best of that stuff yet.
Yeah. And with what we've read too, there's a ton of compassion. If like Wheel of Time's got a ton of characters. If that's an aspect of the books that you enjoyed, there's a ton of characters in Malazan as well. And and they're all over the place, but like I've never read anything like this, and it's like people say it's life-changing. I'm not finished with the series. We're in the 5th book out of the 10, the main 10, and it is. I can say I feel like it is life-changing. Yeah. And there's some other novellas. There's another series written by another author in the same universe. We haven't read any of those yet.
There's currently 27 books written in this world. So you can keep going and learning and discovering.
There's 10 books in this series. How long is roughly each book? Because I know how long each
chunkers, man.
Is.
They're
500-600
long.
800 to 1,000 pages.
Oh Lord. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Carrie, do you like Grimdark? If you don't like Grimdark, you don't want to read Malazan, because Grimdark, Malazan makes Grimdark seem like a nice Sunday afternoon in the park.
I don't know that I'd really call Malazan Grimdark. It's dark fantasy.
Sure.
I'd say it's further than Grimdark. I'd say it's trans Grimdark.
There is virtue. There are truly characters who rise above and don't have everything go badly, which is what happens in Grimdark. No one, everyone doesn't get Ned Starked.
Carrie,
you're right.
A lot of people say
Jaime Lannister.
A lot of people say if you read the first 3 books and it's not clicking for you, stop there.
100%.
You can probably read the first 3 as like a trilogy and have a pretty complete story that if you stop there, you would feel pretty fulfilled, I think.
I did find Malazan had the level of depth that I could not read it straight through. I'd have to take breaks between books because your brain works. You really have to process what you're reading. Then you need something lighter in between.
I had to switch. It's I don't know if it's a secret or not, but out there, guys, I did read a nonfiction book in between some of the Wheel of Time books because I just needed a mental break. And nonfiction is so refreshing sometimes, so, that's what it is.
I've been reading a bunch lately.
Yeah. All right.
No,
we're gonna turn this now from the Malazan episode back to just finishing up. This was fun though. I love a tangent like this. And the chat was digging some of this Malazan content too, I could see. But that's where we are at today. That is our content. And that was a lot of fun stuff. I had like 20 more questions we could have talked about, but you don't want to be here for 3
It's
hours,
here.
people. So this was a good place. Thank you, each of you, for joining us. What we talked about today was a nice representation of all the kinds of things we like to talk about on Fantasy for the Ages. So you added valuable content to what we're doing. You even gave me a couple of ideas for new things I might do, new episodes. So good stuff. Thank you for your time, viewers. Thank you for being here. Again, don't forget, like, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Heck, share it with people. And if you got any comments, if you weren't here live, the chat's been rocking. But if you weren't here live and you're watching this later, it's not too late. Drop a comment about anything you want. I do actually read those. I respond. I still get people going, wow, thanks for answering, because they're not used to the big booktubers, answering. I'm not big enough yet. I can still keep up with these. Barely, but I can still keep up. And it's a lot of fun to do it.
Nice.
So again, I'll put things in the chat where you can find some of these wonderful, lovely people. Leia over on Threefold Talk, and Derek with his Malazan channel, D&J's Epic Quest, Glenn with the Non-Terrestrial Half-Life channel. Carrie, just watch for things. Carrie just shows
I'm just
up
a fan.
in various
I'm just
people's
a fan.
content. It's great. And don't forget to look for Daniel's books, the audio book. And what was that current series again? Because I got to go look that up now.
It's called the Prairie Wolf Trilogy.
Prairie Wolf Trilogy. So I will look it up, and I'll drop a link for that on the episode. Make it easy
Appreciate it,
for all
truly.
of you to go find it. But that's where we'll leave you. Anybody, one last word? You want to say anything to the people while they're captive?
I just want to say congratulations to you. This is 5 years is a long time to do something, and
Yes.
it's been quality all the way through. So I look forward to another year of quality, and I am sure your fans do as well.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, congrats and thank you for your friendship and doing this. It's been great to see you succeed.
It is a lot of fun to get to know so many people. And in this room, only one of you I've seen in real life. But hopefully sometime we'll fix that with the rest of you.
Indeed.
All right. Well, thanks for being with us, everyone. Again, enjoy the rest of your time. We're in a holiday season. Enjoy your holidays. Finish your shopping. Whatever you need to do. Drink eggnog. Whatever works for you. But no matter what, read a good book. We'll talk to you next time.
Don't forget to be awesome.
Then we'll try to hit the button. That'd be episode